Microsoft just gave Azure Assistants users just 50 days to migrate their agent workflows. It's a harsh reminder about platform lock-in. And while some doors close, others open, AMD's got a new developer kit making on-device AI inference frictionless, and a new Illinois law could mean multi-million-dollar fines for AI startups. No BS AI briefing brought to you by Proactive AI. Welcome back. I'm your host Vikash Sharma, and this is where builders get straightforward AI news without the fluff. All right, let's dive into what's been happening. We've got a lot of high signal items this week, so let's get straight to it. First up, AMD has launched their Ryzen AI Halo developer kit. This thing is a chunky $4,000 piece of hardware, but it's built around their Ryzen AI Max Bus 395 chip, packing 128 GB of unified LPDDR5X memory and an XDNA2 NPU. What happened here is AMD's basically giving developers a frictionless out-of-the-box environment for on-device AI. They're shipping it with their AI Developer Center and what they call best-known configurations, essentially pre-optimized playbooks for things like PyTorch fine-tuning, FastFlow LM inference, and LM Studio integration. It's a serious piece of kit for serious experimentation. For builders, this matters because it makes testing and optimizing on-device inference on real NPU hardware much easier without getting bogged down in dependency hell. You can validate privacy, latency, and energy efficiency trade-offs early for those local first product ideas you've been cooking up. AMD's focus on these validated workflows, these playbooks, is also key, emphasizing practical working examples over just raw specs. Next up, a significant announcement from Microsoft. The Azure OpenAI Assistants API is being deprecated with an August 26 to 2026 deadline. This is a forced migration for any team currently using the Assistants API in production. Workloads must migrate over to Microsoft's new Foundry Agent service. In plain English, if you've built your AI assistants using this specific Azure API, you've got a little under 2 months to switch everything over to a different Microsoft service. It's not optional, it's mandatory. Why this matters for builders is pretty clear. If you're affected, you need to start planning now. That deadline isn't going to move. It also signals a broader trend we're seeing, the consolidation of agent infrastructure into more opinionated platform-specific services. This isn't just a technical change, it's a strategic one that highlights the very real risk of vendor lock-in. It should make you think twice about the portability of your AI solutions across different cloud providers. Also, on the open source front, there's a new native Swift framework called Swarm for building multi-agent AI workflows. This isn't just another Python library, it's a first-class Swift framework designed for Apple and Linux environments. Swarm leverages Swift's built-in concurrency features, offers handy Harat tool macros for type-safe tool calling, which is huge for preventing runtime errors, and even includes durable checkpointing so your agents can pick up where they left off. What's really interesting is its support for unified abstractions across both cloud and on-device models, meaning it can talk to Anthropic, OpenAI, Olama, Gemini, and even Apple's MLX framework. For builders, especially those in the Apple ecosystem or working with existing Swift code bases, this is a big deal. You finally get a native concurrency safe agent framework that feels right at home. It means you can potentially write your agent logic once and then target either local models on Apple Silicon or cloud models without major refactors. And that type-safe tool calling, it's a godsend for production-grade agents, catching errors at compile time rather than in front of your users. Changing gears to policy, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker just signed the Artificial Intelligence Safety Measures Act into law. This isn't some federal bill, it's a state-level law and it's got teeth. It requires AI developers who meet specific thresholds, think larger models or those with significant impact, to implement risk mitigation frameworks, submit transparency reports, and undergo annual third-party audits. And if you violate it, fines can go up to 3 million. For builders, especially those growing startups, this is a wake-up call. AI compliance is no longer a someday concern. It's an active requirement right now in Illinois and likely coming to other states. Scaling startups might hit these thresholds sooner than they expect, so it's wise to start thinking about auditability and responsible AI practices from day one, not as an afterthought. This is the new reality. Finally, a useful new tool for security minded builders, ShareClean. This is a local first Python CLI tool that automatically redacts sensitive information like API keys, passwords, email addresses, and local file paths from logs and config files before you share them. The key here is local first. It runs entirely offline, making no network calls and requiring no API keys or telemetry. It's designed for privacy from the ground up, plus, you can integrate it directly into your CI CD pipeline using a SHA check flag to block accidental secret exposure before it ever gets committed or deployed. This matters immensely for builders because it automates a pervasive, often overlooked security gap. How many times have you accidentally shared a log snippet in a Slack channel, a GitHub issue, or even pasted it into an AI tool only to realize later it contained something sensitive? This privacy first design ensures your sensitive data stays on your device, and those easy CI hooks make it frictionless to adopt. It's a simple, elegant solution to a very common problem. Now, let's zoom in on what I think is the most immediately impactful story of the week for many builders: the Azure OpenAI Assistants API deprecation. What happened is clear. Microsoft is officially retiring their Azure OpenAI Assistants API on August 26, 2026. If you've been using it to build conversational agents or automated workflows, you're now on a mandatory timeline to migrate your existing solutions to their new Microsoft Foundry agent service. This isn't a suggestion, it's a forced change, giving builders roughly 50 days to adjust their entire agent infrastructure. It's a short runway for what can be a significant architectural shift. Why this matters right now is multifaceted. First, for anyone currently leveraging the Azure OpenAI Assistants API, this is an immediate critical task that wasn't on their roadmap. It means reallocating engineering resources, potentially rewriting significant parts of your agent logic, and thoroughly testing the new Foundry service. Second, it's a powerful signal about the evolving landscape of AI platforms. We're seeing cloud providers move from offering relatively generic API access to more opinionated, vertically integrated services. They want to own more of the agent orchestration layer, offering deeper integration but also potentially less flexibility. For builders, this implies that platform stability and long-term commitment are not guaranteed, even with major providers. Who should care about this? Definitely founders who have based their product's core AI features on the Assistants API. Your strategic direction is now dictated by this migration. Product managers will need to reassess their roadmaps, account for migration overhead, and communicate potential changes to users. Engineering leaders are on the hook for executing this migration smoothly, evaluating the new Foundry service and ensuring continuity. And even indie hackers experimenting with agents on Azure need to be aware your prototype might suddenly require a significant overhaul. Yeah, this isn't just for the big enterprise, it affects anyone relying on that specific API. How I'd think about it as a builder is this: consider this a stark reminder about vendor lock-in and the need for architectural resilience. When you build on a platform, you're not just using their compute, you're often adopting their opinions, their tooling, and their ecosystem. The Assistants API was great for rapid prototyping and deployment, but its deprecation shows that convenience can come at the cost of long-term control. My mental model here is: don't build on quicksand. While you can't predict every platform change, you can architect your agent layer with enough abstraction that if a core component shifts, you're not starting from scratch. Think about separating your agent's core logic from the specific orchestrator or model provider. Have a plan for how you'd pivot if your foundational AI service disappeared or fundamentally changed. It's about building in optionality and understanding your dependencies. This isn't about avoiding managed services entirely, they offer immense value, but about building with a clear eyed view of the risks. My no BS take on this: Look, nobody likes forced migrations, especially with a tight deadline and no direct input. But this is the reality of building on top of rapidly evolving cloud AI platforms. It's a clear warning shot. Understand your true dependencies, critically evaluate vendor lock in your architecture, and always have a contingency plan or at least a migration strategy in mind. The agent orchestration space is clearly consolidating, and the big players are now defining their own stacks and guiding you towards them. It's a strategic move for Microsoft and a tactical headache for many of us. If you want one practical takeaway from today's episode, here it is. Experiment with integrating ShareClean into your CI/CD pipeline. Here's how to try it in under 30 minutes. First, install it using pipix install ShareClean. Pips keeps it nicely isolated from your other Python packages. Next, pick a log file or a config file that you know might contain some dummy secrets. Think a placeholder API key, a fake password, or a bogus email address. Then add a pre-commit hook or a step in your existing CI CD workflow that runs ShareClean to check fail on severity high. This command tells ShareClean to scan the file, and if it finds anything sensitive with a high severity, it'll actually fail the commit or the build. Finally, test it out by trying to commit that file with your dummy API key. Watch it fail, then let ShareClean redact it for you and try committing again. Why this specific experiment is worth your time right now is simple. Accidental secret exposure is a pervasive yet often overlooked security vulnerability. We all share logs, config snippets, or debugging output in internal chats, issue trackers, or even directly into AI tools. One slip can expose credentials. ShareClean, with its local first, privacy focused design and easy CI CD integration, provides an automated, low friction way to prevent these kinds of leaks before they ever leave your machine or your secure pipeline. It's a proactive step that can save you a huge headache down the line, and it takes minutes to set up the basics. That's it for today's No BS AI briefing. If this helped, follow the show in your podcast app and share it with one builder you know. And if you've got questions or topics you want covered, connect with me on LinkedIn and send them over. See you in the next briefing.